Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity in the Heart of Boston. And we are here at Balance Dance Studio Bravo building on South Lamar, and we say hello to everybody on Zoom also. My name is Teresa Attia, and I will be your platform host today. Our lesson today will be brought to us by the lovely Marilyn Connelly. Woo! We are queering unity again. And our musician today, Dave Rosenblatt.
The lovely.
Thank you for coming. Okay, so we are going to now invite Marilyn up for our opening prayer, followed by our song. So don't go anywhere.
So I'll take a nice deep centering breath. And let go of everything it took to get here today. And everything we've got to do after we leave. And just open our hearts to this present moment and the connection we feel between everybody here and everyone on Zoom. And let's affirm an exciting and delightful experience of church today. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Marilyn. And now David's going to come up for our opening song.
You'll find this on your song
This
sheet.
day is full of irony today, but I'll get into that sometime. It's good to be here. Which means I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm
glad you are here. I'm glad you are here. I want to share my love with you. I'm glad you are here. I'm glad you are here. I want to share my love with you. For we are one. For we are one. For we are one in the family of God. For we are one. For we are one. For we are one in the family of God. I'm glad you are here.
Greet your friends and neighbors.
You are here. I want to share my love with you.
Okay, so we're going to now gather for our affirmations. Affirmations are a tool that we use here at Unity to create a reality. So first, we're going to affirm our prosperity with our affirmation of positive prayer. And let's say this together. God is my instant, constant, abundant source of supply. I am blessed with health, wealth, happiness, wisdom, love, and success. Great. Okay, and now we're going to affirm our vision for our spiritual community together. With our thoughts, words, and actions, we make a powerful and positive difference in Austin, Texas, and in our world. Oh, do we have somebody for the daily word?
I would be willing to read the daily word.
All right, so Miss Missy Connelly, please come up.
The word for today is imagination. I imagine and create my most magnificent life. Let's say that together. I imagine and create my most magnificent life. I admire the storyteller's gift for creating fantastic worlds where impossible things happen. I immerse myself in the story, allowing myself to feel the wonder, the exhilaration, and even the sadness the storyteller's imagination has created. No matter how scary the story, there's nothing to fear. It is only a story. My imagination helps me create my life story. Guided by divine wisdom and will, I imagine a positive, meaningful life. If disturbing thoughts cloud my imagination, I remember I am God's living expression. There is nothing to fear. My spiritual gifts of faith, love, strength, and understanding join with my imagination to build the fulfilling life my heart desires. And from Joel 2:28, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions.
I'm going to have to explain this song just for a minute, and hope you can hear it because I'm used to playing it more delicately. So somebody said, I'm going to talk about staking my claim. And I was like a few weeks ago, and I said, and it's this I was going to play for them as well, and I said, what does stake your claim mean? That's what I woke up singing in my head. I said, okay, there's a song for me. Obviously, what does stake your claim mean? And I was asking, what does it mean? And I figured it's sort of like shooting for your goals, your visions, trying to get the junk out of the way and having a clear focus on whoever you are, you know, deep inside and showing it to the world. And the archer image came to me, like a Sagittarian archer. That's why the name is called Like a Sagittarian Archer. So enough talk about that. Do you think you have to get there? Is there really anywhere? Put yourself in motion, then dream big as an ocean. There's that water again. Stake your claim, refine your aim, like a Sagittarian archer, a conscientious marcher into your good life, your best life. Move beyond blame, rise above shame. When you put all that in motion, with desires big as an ocean, let go and release into your good life. Let go and release into your best life. Stake your claim, refine your aim, like a Sagittarian archer, a spiritually minded marcher into your best life, your best life. So live your good life, your good life. See the good in your desires. What does that inspire? See the good in your dreams. Pay attention to the themes and look up. You can manifest your dreams. Look in within, see what's behind the scenes. Let go, what's your inside dream, and stake your claim. Refine your aim, like a Sagittarian archer, a conscious spiritual marcher. Live in your best life, your good life, your best life, your good life. And I'll stake my claim, finesse my aim. I'm that Sagittarian archer, a spiritually minded marcher, and I'm living my best life, my best life. So live your good life, your good life. That's what stake your claim means to me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that's what we're talking about today is creating our best life. So, hi, I'm Marilyn. I think y'all know me, and I'm so happy to be here. So today we're going to talk about the parallels between unity metaphysics and queer theory, and how I've kind of reconciled the two and how I use both of them to understand my own identity. I first started thinking about this talk because I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. You know, if you go on unity.org, there are like dozens of articles about how, you know, being gay is okay and like we're not, you know, miserable sinners. But you know, I grew up in Unity. I knew that already. So I was like, okay, what else is there? You know, there's so much potential here. So that's what we're talking about. We're going to be using the term queer a lot today. And when I did this talk last time, I kind of failed to give attention and care for people who do not have a positive experience with this word. So if that's you, you know, take a deep breath and know that when we're talking about queerness today, we're talking about love, we're talking about expansion, and we're talking about liberation. So, you know, it's all good. I got to do this talk here a few years ago, and if you want to see it, it's on our website under the LGBT tab. But last time, a large portion of it was kind of a crash course on gender studies. We did this like really big Q&A portion, which was really awesome. But I have a lot to say today, so we're just going to be kind of rushing through that just to make sure we're all on the same page. So when we're thinking about understanding all of these identities that feel really new and foreign to us, I'm going to use the example of gender because it feels most like pertinent right now, but this idea can apply to a lot of different identities. Gender is really complicated. If you asked every woman in this room like what being a woman means, you know, you'd get, every person would have a different answer. And when you're talking to people that are not cisgender or not, you know, do not identify with the like gender that we would think they would be just assigned at birth, you'll find that, in my experience, they've thought a lot about gender, probably more than our cisgender friends, but they might still not be able to put words to their own identity and experience, much less explain it to you. So when we are talking and living with people that are different with us, whether we understand them is a lot less important than whether or not we love and respect them. Emily Cady says in Lessons in Truth, I want to see, if you do not already, that every time you try to limit God's manifestation of itself in any person or through any person, in order to make that manifestation conform to what you see as truth, you are only crying loudly, "Ho, everyone, come and view my narrowness and my ignorance."
I love her.
She's so sassy. So that's all I have to say about that. So when we're talking about the term queer, these days it's most often used as sort of an umbrella for everything that is not straight or cisgender. But when we're talking about queer theory, we're talking about queer as an action and not an identity. A lot of what I have to say and like the sources that I have on queer theory are from the book, it's in my bag, I forgot to bring it up, but it's called Queer, A Graphic History, and it's a really like good jumping off point if you're interested. We queer things when we resist regimes of the normal, the normative ideals of aspiring to be normal in identity, behavior, appearance, relationships, etc. And isn't that what we're doing as New Thought people? Kind of pushing against what we think, what we've been told that church is supposed to be. For some of us, what we believe Christianity is supposed to be. So it's this radical focus on dismantling the structure rather than fitting into it, breaking down the kinds of binaries that oversimplify the world into this or that. So we're going to be talking about the fundamentals and practices of queer theory through the fundamentals of unity, our 5 basic unity principles. So unity as a movement doesn't have like a dogma. Charles and Myrtle, our founders, came up with the 5 principles, but they were reluctant to even issue a statement of beliefs because they wanted to remain in a constant state of exploration, and they didn't want to tie themselves to any specific, edicts or rules. So let's just jump right in. First principle. Anyone?
There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God. The good.
Yes.
Omnipotent.
Omnipotent, yeah. There's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good. So in unity, we know that there are many names for God, many pathways to God, many ways that people experience God, but we believe that we're all talking about the same God, this same divine nature. Emily Cady says, were it not at times so utterly ridiculous, it would always be pitiful to see the human mind trying to limit God to personal comprehension. However much any of us may know God, there will always be unexplored fields in the realm of expression. So this lines up pretty nicely with this idea of queerness, that we are always aware of the unknown and aware of this ambiguity, that there is no fixed spiritual nature, there is no fixed experience of God. It's like how we always say this or something better at the end of our affirmations or prayers, always allowing for that expansion. Second principle, our essence is of God, therefore we are inherently good. We call this inherent divinity our Christ nature. So when we're talking about Jesus, you'll hear a lot, Christ was not Jesus' last name. And that means that, when we're talking about Christ's nature, we're talking about this innate divinity within each of us. And Jesus was just some guy who figured it out and was, the most expressed Christ. But we also have other people and other traditions who express that Christ potential as well. I love whenever Reverend Sandra comes to speak with us, and I have a couple quotes from her. She has to say, "We were not born in brokenness, we were born in divine goodness." So, if we're all born in the image and nature of God, and as unitics, we're interpreting God as divine spirit, we're all divine. I said this in my last talk, and my dear friend Elliot quotes it back to me all the time, so I think it's probably useful. So if we know that God is infinite, and we know that we are all expressions of God, why would there not be infinite ways for us to express ourselves and our divinity? Why indeed? How we are expressing out in the world is not static, and it changes all the time, but our true divine nature is immutable, and it, stays the same. We don't become more or less divine, but when we are expressing our divinity out in the world, to become more divine or to appear more divine is just us remembering our divine nature and coming to terms with it and releasing the things that might get in the way of our divinity. I'm going to quote Simone de Beauvoir a lot today. She's sort of a grandmother of queer theory. And she says, "To attain his truth, man must not attempt to dispel the ambiguity of his being, but on the contrary, accept the task of realizing it."
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Reverend Sandra says, "To be spiritually mature is to know that we are all interconnected and we are all unique." So, third principle, the fun one. Anybody got it?
Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind.
The law of mind action.
Law of mind action. I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. Linda Martella Whitsett says, "Seek the truth you cannot see with human eyes, but which can clearly be perceived through spiritual vision." And in queer theory, we would say identity is neither essential nor fixed, but feels that way through repeated performance.
Oh, yeah.
So we are born into this world, we have these ideas applied to us, and we're doing that in unity too. We have all of these limiting beliefs, we call them, we don't have enough, we're not good enough, but through this act of, law of mind action, we get to create an experience that is better and that is closer to divinity. Charles Fillmore says, "It is your mission to express all that you can imagine God to be. Let this be your standard of achievement. Never lower it or allow yourself to be belittled by the cry of sacrilege. You can attain everything you can imagine. If you can imagine that it is possible to God, it is also possible to you." And similarly, Simone de Beauvoir says, "To will oneself free has a positive and concrete meaning. If man wishes to save his existence as only he himself can do, his original spontaneity must be raised to the height of moral freedom by taking itself as an end through the disclosure of a particular content." That's a mouthful, right? But, what she's talking about is, we're tapping into our original nature, our original divine truth, I would argue. And by living our truth, we are creating our freedom. We are creating our positive experience in the world. We are willing ourselves free. That's that divine power of will that we have. That's one of our 12 basic powers. So when you choose to create an experience closer to your truth, you're peeling back the layers of separation between yourself and the divine. Fourth one, my favorite. Through prayer and meditation, I align myself with God and bring out the good in my life. Denials and affirmations are tools we use to do this. So we're going to talk about denials a lot because I think as Unitics and as people living today, we're kind of pretty set in terms of affirmations. We know what they are, and we kind of know how to use them. And denials are really important, and they're kind of confusing. So I use the example of like when you're choking on something, you don't put more food in to try to push it down. You have to release, what is blocking you. And it's the same way with affirmations. You can say affirmations until the cows come home, but if you haven't released that belief system that is getting in the way of you believing that thing to be true, it's not going to do anything. So, you know that you have this identity, you know that you are prosperous, you know that you are at peace, but something is getting in the way of that expressing in your life and in your experience. So that's where denials come in. And it's also where things get kind of confusing, because denials are not denying reality. You can say, I am not sick, but that's not going to stop you from being sick. I highly recommend this book, How to Pray Without Talking to God. It has been really helpful for me. But Linda says, the practice of spiritual denial, we do not deny facts or feelings. We do not pretend our feelings or circumstances away. We do not deny pain, whether physical or emotional. And we do not try to convince ourselves that this is not happening. The true power of spiritual denial occurs when we comprehend the falsehood of our assumptions about the facts and feelings. We notice that facts and feelings are fleeting, change moment to moment. We observe that our feelings shift as we reinterpret the meaning of facts. Spiritual denial leads to the awareness of our divine identity, feelings of relief, and conscious action. True denial corrects consciousness. True denial erases belief in only human consciousness. So I think this can be particularly helpful for us when we're talking about queerness, because we are steeped in this collective consciousness, in societal structures that have taught us from our birth what we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do. And when we want to do something different, be something closer to our truth, we have to cut through all of that. You know, if we didn't have all of these constructs and beliefs, then, you know, the way we would start out in the world is the way we get to be the whole time, as perfect and divine. Spiritual denial is disidentification with, repudiation of, and elimination of thoughts and beliefs that we realize are contrary to spiritual truth. And this is very similar to how we queer things. When we're talking about queer as an action, we're talking about breaking down these societal expectations and these societal constructs. You know, just because they're constructed doesn't mean they're not real. We feel the effects of them all the time. Often this is through the process of camping things up in performance. So like drag queens are a really good example of this. If anyone knows the drag queen Ben de la Creme, she was on RuPaul's Drag Race, but her whole performance is focused on this like hammed up expression of like the 1950s housewife. And so being this like bubbly, very, you know, perfect woman, we get to see kind of how ridiculous and how unattainable this hyper femininity is. We can laugh at it because it's a man doing it, but then we have to think about how, okay, if it's so ridiculous that a man is behaving in this way, why are we as women expected to act like this and be like this?
Why indeed?
Yes. So you don't have to be queer to queer something also. We're talking about anything outside of, you know, the common societal script. So if you're choosing to be in an untraditional marriage, choosing not to be married, taking a job that is out of alignment with your, gender expression. All of these things can be perceived as queering or denying the power of social norms. But none of that matters if we don't use the fifth principle. Mother?
The fifth principle.
I think
Practice.
you're telling it
These
all.
principles and all
That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Knowledge of these principles is not enough.
Yeah.
We must live them. So all of these theories and principles are not useful unless we use them.
Yeah. Like every day.
Like every day, like all the time. Simone de Beauvoir says, self-knowledge is no guarantee of happiness, but it is on the side of happiness and can supply the courage to fight for it. I think we've all felt helpless before. We all want to be happy and want to be able to experience and express truth in our lives, but it can be really scary when we don't have examples of what that looks like, or we don't have principles that can help us express that and help us know how to express that. So I would say that living your truth is an act of bravery. Activating and utilizing our spiritual capacities in the midst of a collective listlessness and powerlessness requires audacity, Linda Martella says. So, cultivate the patience while in the gap between the way things are and the way things can be. You have within you the tremendous spiritual power to bring the consciousness needed for improved conditions to manifest today. It is possible to be fully present and devoted to the unfolding vision and at the same time honoring an orderly sequence of growth as found in the natural world. Remain undaunted in the face of material conditions, seeing the organizing principle at work as conditions develop. Vigilantly observe shifting thoughts, adjusting them along the way so as to be in the world but not of it, living in the gap between the way things are and the way things can be. That's Linda Martella again. So when we go into meditation, I want you to think about what you're afraid to express in the world and what society has told you can't be, but that you're ready to bring into your life. And be brave. Thank you.
Sabitu Variniam Bargore Vasidimahi Yoyona Prachodaya Vasvara Tat Sabitu Variniam Bargore Vasidimahi Tak sabitur bareniam pargo devasudire.
Let's travel down to that still small place deep within us, whether that's in your heart or somewhere else inside your consciousness. And let's imagine it as if it were an artichoke. As we get closer to truth, we're peeling back the layers of societal expectations, what our expectations of ourself are, what things have happened to us that would get in the way of our truth. And notice what's left. That deep, true Christ nature. Notice how it feels. If it's warm or bright or soothing. See if you can expand it or strengthen it. Just rest in this place for a moment, knowing that this is your divine truth, and this is always here for you. Focus on your breath now. Without judgment. Has it changed? Now start to deepen your breath again. And become aware of the air on your skin, the space around you. Know that you can always come back to this place. And remember your divinity as you start to come back into this present moment. Wiggling your toes and your fingers. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, in oneness all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be
the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yea, God. So I know that a lot of you got the special message I sent it to the newsletter list. Thank you. We are suspending our Sunday services. Today was our last service for the foreseeable future. We had just a very small pool of volunteers who were putting all this together, and we lost one. And so we were meeting, and we said, okay, who's going to take up the slack? And we said, I can't. Every person said, I can't do one more thing. And so we're just suspending this part of our church services, but we'll still have our monthly walks, our nature walks, our spiritual cinema, our Tuesday night mastermind group, and we'll have other things coming up in the future. And I just wanted everybody to know that although this may seem like a strange thing to do, this is actually something that is being explored at Unity Worldwide Ministries right now. How can you be a church in your community, like a church without a building? So we have lots of support from the people who are thinking about this and praying about it. We're not on our own. And so I would just invite you to check our website. I'll still be sending out the newsletter. Teresa will still be sending out the text messages, and we'll try and keep everybody informed. And you can always, always, always send us an email and ask us questions. You know, we're happy. We're happy to talk to you. We're all real gabby, especially me and Teresa. So thank you all for being here today. It's been really great.
Thank you.